Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Daniela, and in this video I'm going to show you how to draft a basic bodice for knit fabrics that you can use to make any t-shirt or top. Drafting the bodice for knits is a bit different from drafting for woven fabrics, as it doesn't have the specific shaping at the front that is done for women, and that's why you can follow the same steps to draft a pattern for both men and women. Here are the steps to follow. You can use this tutorial to make any kind of knit top like t-shirts, tank tops or blouses with different fit and ease. This is the basic pattern that reflects your body exactly and on top of which you can make any changes regarding design and fit. I already have the written instructions on my blog if you want to go over them step by step. If you would like to check them out, the link is in the description below. As with any other pattern you are drafting, first you need to take your measurements. You are going to need bust, waist and hips, as well as crotch depth, nape to waist, back neck, neck rise, shoulder length, across back, and shoulder pitch. Some of these are direct body measurements, some are calculated from the measurements taken. Here is each of them explained. Measure the bust at the widest part. Measure the waist at the smallest part with the tape not too close around your body. For the hips, measure around the widest part of the hips. Crotch depth is another measurement you are going to need for this pattern. To take it, sit on a chair and hold a ruler next to your hips. The nape is the point where the neck intersects with the back. Measure from that point straight down to the waistline and the center back. For neck circumference, measure the circumference at the lower part of the neck with the tape not too tight. For shoulder length, measure from the end of the neck to the point where the arm joins the shoulder. For a cross-back measurement, measure between the two bones at the top of the back and divide it by 2 to work with a quarter body measurements for the pattern. We are also going to need back neck, neck rise and shoulder pitch to finish the pattern. Those three are calculated from some of the measurements we just took. The back neck is calculated by dividing the neck circumference by 6. The neck rise is calculated by dividing the neck circumference by 8. The shoulder pitch is the waist to nape measurement multiplied by 0.09. I've made a printable measurement calculator spreadsheet that you can use to enter your measurements, and it will automatically calculate everything for you in inches or centimeters. You can download it on my blog and the link is in the description. After you fill the measurements and it does the calculations, you can print it and use it as a reference while drafting your pattern. To draft the bodice pattern for knits, I'm going to use my measurements, a white piece of paper and a pencil. I'm also going to need a grid ruler, L-square ruler and a French curve. In the studio I use a set of rulers, but as I'm filming this at home, I'm using this very cheap piece of equipment that combines all of them. I'll link to it in the description if you would like to check it out on Amazon. First, let's outline the pattern. Start with a vertical line that is a bit longer than your body's overall length. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement, we are yet outlining the pattern. Then, mark point A somewhere near the top of the line. It doesn't have to be right at the top because we are going to build up on the pattern from this point, so leave some inches by the end of the paper. Then, from point A down the line, measure nape to waist and mark point B. Measure the half between A and B and mark point C. From point A down, we need to apply the shoulder pitch and mark point D. From point B down, measure the crotch depth and mark point E. Align the square ruler and square out of points A, B, C, D, and E. We are just outlining the pattern yet, so those lines don't have to be precisely measured, but they have to be squared. Along the D line that marks the shoulder pitch, I'm going to apply the back neck measurement. Starting at point D, I apply the back neck and mark point F. From point F, I am going to square straight up and apply the neck rise measurement, then mark point G. Extend approximately an inch in both directions horizontally from point G so that you can use that perpendicular line as a guide. Next, starting from point G, apply the shoulder length measurement. Put the beginning of the ruler at point G and shift the ruler up until you reach the shoulder length measurement, finishing at line D. Mark point H. Then connect points G and H. Square out from G in the other direction and make a shallow curve connecting points G and A to form the back neckline. Use the French curve or just eyeball it. Starting from point C, measure and apply a half across back measurement and mark point I. Square up from point I until it crosses the shoulder GH line. It doesn't have to match the H point, although it might. This depends on your measurements. Starting from C, measure 1/4 bust measurement along the line and mark point J. We are going to need 1/4 bust because we are drafting 1/4 bodice for the top. It's the same for the waist and hips. We are going to work with 1/4 waist and 1/4 hips measurements. From B to K, apply 1/4 bust measurement once again. Square across from E and measure and mark the hip measurement. Mark point L. Now, let's form the armhole. Make a 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters long line at a 45-degree angle, starting at point I and mark point M. Measure and mark the middle of the line between H and I. Mark that point N. Use the French curve to connect points H, N, M, and J with a curve to draft the armhole. Use different parts of the ruler for best results. Connect points J, K, and L with straight lines. If you want your bodice unfitted at the waist, your back bodice detail is done. Just make sure to smooth the curve at the side seam if you need to. The last thing we need to do is to draft the front bodice neckline, which, unlike the bodice for woven fabrics, is the only difference between the front and the back bodice. But first, let me show you how to fit the pattern at the waist if you want to achieve a more fitted look. Along the BK line, measure and apply the 1/4 waist measurement. Mark point O. Measure the distance between points K and L and divide it into thirds. Measure 1/3 down from K and mark point P. Then measure one more third down from point P and mark it point Q. Connect I to O with a straight line. Connect O to Q with a curve to replicate the natural shape of the hip curve. If you have a big difference between waist and hip measurements, this shape will be more curved. If you don't have a big difference in measurements, the curve would be more shallow. Both are normal depending on your body structure. If you want the pattern just a bit fitted but not too much, divide the distance between O and K by 2 and shape the waist there. Keep in mind that due to different body measurements, your finished bodice may look very different from mine. This is normal as we draft for an individual and we are all different in shape and size. The knit bodice pattern is usually drafted the same for front and back. The one difference you need to make is at the neckline. We want the neckline to be more opened at the front. To do it, connect point D with point G with a curve. Another thing some pattern makers like to do is to change the front armhole curve a bit too. I don't do that because I find it to be unnecessary, but here's how you can do it if you prefer. Measure 1/4 of an inch or half a centimeter in from point N. Draw the new curve from point H through the new point and then connect with M and J. And this is your front bodice. You can use tracing paper to transfer the front and back bodice on a different piece of paper. This is the basic bodice pattern that you can use for any knit top that you want to make and make the changes on top of it. For example, you can add ease, change neckline or add a sleeve. I have articles on my blog for all of those modifications, and if you would like to read further, I'll link to some in the description below. If you would like to see more pattern making videos, Please let me know in the comments below. I hope you liked this video. If so, don't forget to give it the thumbs up and subscribe. Also, click on the notification bell because in the next one I'm going to show you how to sew the perfect rolled hems with the help of an arrow hammer foot. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you all very much and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!